game right now is Grand Theft Auto.
Double barrel! Get it!
It is very violent. They rob, shoot, kill, beat,
Empty out this!
and
Games. Nowadays, almost all people playing games, right? Age, it doesn't matter. Even my mom play games too, such as Candy Crush. But that kind of game is typical and, to be honest, not controversial as what I'm going to take you guys. Have you guys heard of God of War, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, GTA, Call of Duty, and other R-rated games? If you guys know some of these games, I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm going to. R-rated games are actually fun to some extent, but this kind of game actually kind of too violent to be played in this generation. I mean, it's R-rated, so what do we expect, right? But usually it's mind-blowing because it's actually far worse than we can imagine. It is my concern regarding to this particular topic. Therefore, I, Muhammad Denda bin Muhammad Salim, would like to talk about violence in video games for youngsters. Without wasting more time, let's continue to my central idea. So, there are many types of genre when it comes to games. There is more than 30 games genre such as adventure, simulation, action, survival, horror, and others. Wait, I think there is more, but never mind. I think that's all that I remember. But what I'm about to focus on is not the game genre, but the content inside the game. Even though most of brutal or violence games are R-rated, those games are also available on Steam, Epic Games, Apple Store, Play Store, and other platforms that can give us access to download and play it. Therefore, youngsters are also able to download and play that kind of game. For obvious reason, it is not suitable for youngsters, in my opinion, because don't you think it's kind of weird and inappropriate to play for youngsters or even older people? It is okay if you guys play it for fun, but embrace violence. I do think when that would actually lead to a bad thing for sure. Because I do think when it comes to play games, we should be more careful to be not into the game too much. Besides of it might affect your brain, it might affect your daily behavior too. So my first point is, I think to avoid youngsters involved in this kind of game genre is by putting strict age restriction to avoid youngsters having access to the game or even download it, since nowadays youngsters have their own smartphone, tablet, computer, laptop, and others, right? Which this one will actually relate to my sub point, which is parents should not give their child all of those things due to the risk of them use it for the wrong thing. Or maybe parents should active the parents control mode, which I believe that the features are already available in all gadgets. So for example, in Steam app, before you even want to see the game details, you need to put your birthday first. It's applied to every R-rated game in Steam, unlike E-rated or PG-rated games. It's actually a very effective way to avoid youngsters having access to the game. But as for the developer, I think they should reduce the amount of violence in developing games to avoid being banned. If the developer doesn't want to reduce the violence in the game, the chances of the game being banned is quite high. Actually, I found an article about this topic. So this article is from Video Games Chronicle website, and the title is The Callisto Protocol Cancelled in Japan after developer decide against the cut published by Andy Robinson. It said that Japan's CERO's rating system has apparently deemed the game to excessively gory. However, while striking distance could have presumably choose to alter or censor content in order to satiate CERO, it has chosen not to. Video games are rarely banned in Japan, which I think the games might be too violent to be played, since we all know Japan is widely known to be a developer of game, so it's kind of weird. So let's move on to my second point. My second point and last point is I concerned about youngsters who is involved in these particular games because it might affect their daily behavior. They might be thinking like, oh, it's fine, it's okay and stuff. It might influence them to do something similar to what they play in those kind of games, since they're seeing what in the game is normal, and should I say they're used to it, to the point that they be like, oh, that's cool, that's okay, stay. So I would like to remind you again, youngsters are easily influenced by daily things that they do, hear, watch every single day. So it will be the best for us for prevent them from thinking violence behavior is fine. If they start thinking violence is fine, their behavior will drastically change, since for them there is nothing compared to what they see in the game. And I got to agree on that if I have the same mindset as them, because just what I said, they think this is fine to do violence. So therefore we should prevent this thing from the very beginning before it's too late to handle it. I found another article that confirming that violence video games can affecting our behaviors. So according to an article that I read from American Psychological Association's website, it said that playing violence video games can increase persons' aggressive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors both in laboratory settings and actual life. According to two studies appearing in April issue of American Psychological Association's Journal Personality and Social Psychology, their behavior might change to something more aggressive, such as they become more violent, rude, short-tempered, and so on. So the reason why I choose this particular topic is due to the fact that I also consider myself to be fairly involved in this kind of games. So I also play games that are rated, but just for fun, since I'm 21 already. I'm kind of excluded. To close everything that I've been talking about, violence in video games is not suitable for youngsters who are the type of people that will be easily influenced by games or even social media because it will brainwash their mind by thinking, oh, that's fine, to violence. Other than that, parents should play a big role in preventing their child from playing violence video games, because the parents should have the responsibility to take care and develop what kind of person their child are. I know that violence in video games is the significant factor in influencing and developing games interesting nowadays, but still we should put a limit to it before it becomes something that consuming hours. So that's all from me. Thank you.